Hi there! As of this moment, it's Halloween 2024, so happy Halloween. My costume is before work, not quite ready to get into my uniform. Tonight I'm working at the Center for Performing Arts in San Jose. I am a head usher and I am working on the touring Broadway play of Clue, not the musical, the Broadway play. So I am not dressing up for Halloween. I will don a tiara later, but right now, this is what you get for Halloween. So I just wanted to take a moment to enjoy my coffee and share with you some of the things that are going on here in Studio Davina. Right now, I have too many balls in the air. And because I have been stepping up and taking a bigger leadership role at my theater where I work, and because I am really overstretched, I have to take a step back for a couple of days. So I'm really looking forward after this run of Clue to have 3 or 4 days where I can just do nothing. I don't know anyone else who is in that same booth, but woof, it has been rough. And that is why this video is being made on the last day of the month. Now, I just wanted to share with you some of the things that are up on my Patreon first. We have a flip through of the Serena Wilson book, this classic belly dance publication I have in its hardbound and probably its least effective version. But it is a great book by dance legend Serena of New York. I am currently working on a little side project concerning how all of these vintage 1970s, early 80s era belly dance books were constructed, what their formula was, how they were put together, who published them, when, and why. I'll be doing flip throughs on the $3 level of Patreon of each book, and every month I'm going to be talking about it. Serena's the most recent one. I don't know who's going to be next. I'm going to turn to Turkish dancer Özel. Özel was a major player in the world of belly dance in the 1970s. She also wrote a cookbook. She did the talk show circuit. She was quite famous both here in the United States and in Turkey. So I look forward to November's flip through being of Özel's book. The other At the other levels, for the design creative maker level, which is sometimes sewing, sometimes other things, I'm sharing my jewelry making project for 2024. Each fall, I put together a collection of jewelry to sell and gift to my friends. This jewelry this year is focused on using up bits and pieces that I've collected over the many years that I've worn and have broken, or that I purchased in treasure boxes from companies like Tribal Bazaar. So all these little bits and pieces are sitting in a giant, like 100-pound bin under my daybed. And so my plan is to convert a bunch of different lapis stones, blue glass stones. So the collection is taking on the hues of blue, white, and silver toned metal. And I'm using a lot of imagery that's iconic and talismanic, like Hamsas and evil eye motifs, some goddesses, hands. They're turning out to be pretty luscious. And so I cover that and do a little bit of demo and talk about my design process for making jewelry in that $7 Patreon level. Then at the $15 lecture level in October, I did the second part 2 of A Suit in the Movies. There are 2 videos. It turned out to be much too long, just one video. There's just too much. You know me, I start talking and I realize, oh my gosh, I've been at this an hour and I'm only halfway there. So the video got split into 2 parts. Part 1 is already available. Part 2 is now available, so you can actually indulge in a longer learning experience. I talk about how it was used in the 20s, how it was used in the 70s, 80s, and up till today to represent the 20s, how it was used in in the 50s to represent sort of a historic fantasized ancient Near East. And I also talk about the interrelationship between movies, a suit, designers, and rock and roll. So that's how it finishes up. So this two-part series is available for you to watch on the $15 level. And at each of these levels, there's many, many videos to watch. I have created collections. They're not complete yet, but you can subscribe for the month, and you can just plow through all those collections and see what you want to see. You can stay for a day, you can stay for a month, you can support my work, my ongoing research on the history of belly dance by joining me over on Patreon. Now, the book project I'm working on, which you can see here, do you see this pile here? This pile? This represents not one but two books. I'm working on the 30-year anniversary edition of Costuming from the Hip. I can't believe it's 30 years, and I'm basically doing a head-to-toe rewrite and expansion. So it's taking a lot longer than I initially thought, because I'm in that mode where I'm like, 30 years, wow. It's been a long time coming, this rewrite and and expansion. So my plan at this moment is to, oh my God, I just realized I haven't, proof I'm a writer, right? Goodness. So my goal right now is to get that book done sometime in 2025. In the process of going through everything I've ever written, yes, this has been painful. I've written a lot. I have gone through and I have found a couple of undone books that were never published. I've also found that I've lost some of the original documents for things I have published. So, for instance, the booklet Veils Unveiled, totally gone. I have one partially made document that was saved as in a hard copy form, and that's it. When I sold out the last Veils Unveiled, it had taken so long to sell this booklet. Nobody was really interested at the time. It just wasn't the right time or place. So the booklet kind of died. And then several years later, I had a massive computer crash. And it was before saving things in the cloud was a thing. And I had a fatal computer crash, and then I had a fatal hard drive crash. Lost the data. So Veils Unveiled, outline, partially written, printed version in a binder in this box. That content is going to go into Costuming from the Hip. I found another book that I had worked on, which was a guided journey. I was hoping to put it out in 2020. We all know what happened in 2020, don't we? So that book was never published. It's more of I would say, falls into that bookozine. It's an interactive 12-week / 100-day journey project book, along with, tidbits and history and really cute images, some of my illustrations and activities. There's bingo cards and Seika words and coloring book pages in amongst these prompts to help you discover and fall in love with dance again. And this book never got published because we were thrown into a turmoil, and honestly, I put it aside and then just, had a couple of hard years, like I think many of us have. But I found it while I was doing my research. It was like, I need to get this done. So I'm going to be publishing that book, A Dancer's Journey. I don't know what the title is. That's a working title. I'll be publishing it sometime in the new year. And I'll be working on the Costume for the Hip rewrite all over throughout the whole next year. The other thing that I've been doing is I have been working on tidying up and cleaning my space. If you notice, there's nothing on any of these walls here. Let me show you. There's nothing up there. There's an art project in action here. There's, some mannequins and stuff, and of course this big book project, but these rooms in my house are really barren and blank. So my hope is that over the next couple of months I'm going to redecorate this, and I'm going to share it here with you guys because I think we're all sort of a little fascinated by how people integrate their dancer life, and in my case my author life, into the decor of their spaces, their living spaces. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So when I see you in December, or wait, when I see you in November, I'll show you some before and after pictures of this room, which is getting a little bit of a facelift. So that's it. So let me just recap before I head out. One, I have new classes on Patreon. If you are one of my Patreon supporters, please make your way over to Patreon and enjoy some content. If you are interested in seeing specific things, please, drop me a line anytime. Number two, I'm working on the rewrite of Costume from the Hip, but before this one comes out, I am working on an activity workbook, guided journal. It's a very close to finished work in progress that I just uncovered, and that's going to be my November December project. And we're going to make that as lovely and wonderful as possible. And I will update you at the end of next month, and we'll see how far I go. And lastly, I'm going to be sharing with you sort of the reorg, decoration, revamp of this room. This is a guest bedroom, and this is where I'm going to be filming these face to camera videos, these coffee chats from Studio Davina. Now, last but not least, like really, really last but not least, on November 16th, I am part of the steering committee who is hosting the Fabulous Fall Festival 2024. We are celebrating 20 years of this one-day belly dance festival. When we started off, it was part of the MECTA. It was an event that was envisioned by the MECTA board for the San Francisco Bay Area MECTA chapter. And as we know, MECTA is no more, sadly. I was sitting on that board, and when we came up with this notion of claiming this first or second weekend of November for our event. And here I am 20 years later, although I did take a break. It hasn't been continuously, but I'm back sitting on the committee. Now, the organization changed. MECTA, unfortunately, collapsed in 2013, 2014, around that range. And we took the tiny bit of money we had in the bank account, and we formed a new organization called BABDAMA, the Bay Area Belly Dance and Middle Eastern Association. I just said that totally wrong. It's Bay Area Belly Dance and Music. Yes, and Music organization. We run it like a club. It is a fundraiser for Next Door Solutions to Domestic Violence. We have about 10 vendors who will be there. We have festival dancing from noon to 5. We have a community drum experience that we're going to be jumping up on stage and dancing and making music as a full community experience. And then after that, we're going to have a gala show. So if you're interested in that, here's the flyer. I think I'm putting the flyer here. I hope I'm putting the flyer here. And you can visit their website. I will include a link to that website below if you're interested in coming and joining us for the Fabulous Fall Festival. Now, I know that was kind of randomly out of order today. Sorry, I'm a little bit scattered. I got a promotion, and I'm working many more hours outside of my house than I have ever done in my entire life. And so I'm like, I'm a little behind in everything. Thank you for your patience and understanding as I transition from being 100% work at home to semi-work at home to work a lot out of my house. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. And coming up next month, we have Ozell at the $3 level, flip through. I'm going to be demoing in the $7 level. I'm going to be demoing how to make a Zill wallet, something nice and substantial. I'm going to show you how I make the pattern, what materials I use, and share with you one of them completed. It's not going to be a sewing tutorial per se, but I will walk through the process. And for next month's $15 talk, I'm going to be sharing some recent research. So I've been working, a little bit, chipping away at the research on my three big research projects, the visual history of belly dance, the Salamania, and belly dance at the World's Fairs. And so what I'll be doing is sharing information from this ongoing research. I'll be touching base on each one of these big themes and sharing with you what I found, where I found it, how I got it, and we're just going to have a little bit of a nerd fest. So if you're a researcher and you're interested in, learning more about the craft of doing research on belly dance history, cultural history in general, but on belly dance history specifically, come join me on Patreon at the $15 level. I also have some videos that I recorded back in the spring on how I do belly dance research or history research. So you're welcome. If you join at the $15 level, you'll get access to those related videos as well. Anyways, I gotta go hop in the shower and get into my uniform and head off to work. So I hope that you have a very happy holiday. I want to thank all of my patrons who have supported me as I continue to do this archival research. I really appreciate your help and your support, and keep your eyes peeled on the Patreon website to see what comes next. I will also be preparing a little bit of a Christmas gift. So if you've got a subject you're interested in learning more about, please let me know. And if I can share something with you that would help you directly to your ongoing projects, that would be fabulous. Anyways, take care, have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you in November.